That was Al B. Shore, Rescue Me. So about 2 weeks ago, Jon Gruden, the former coach of the Las Vegas Raiders, was fired because of emails he sent 7 to 10 years ago. And he was fired for being homophobic. He was fired for being racist, and he was fired for being misogynistic. Particularly, he was fired when those documents came to light, when society found out about them, because that's generally what happens. It isn't that they send them; it is that we find out about them as a society. And he was forced to be held accountable because he didn't want to hurt his team, or allegedly he didn't want to hurt his team. He left. Contrast that with Ashley Marie Preston, who is the trans leader who led the walkout of the Netflix employees for the Dave Chappelle special. Contrast the things that Jon Gruden has said with the things that woman has said over the last 10 to 11 years. Contrast the vitriol and the hatred. She said things that are so heinous about Asians and about Latins and about gay people. And particularly when it comes to Asians, they were so heinous that those words were used by many of the people who hurt Asians over the course of the last couple of years. Attacks on Asians were so bad that they actually passed a law to protect them. And a lot of them acted on words, not necessarily her words, but on that sentiment. That sentiment. The hateful things, threats of violence, racist things, racist tropes that she used. And yet, Jon Gruden loses the job. That woman ascends to leadership position. She ascends to leadership. One loses ability to be a leader. One, I guess that is their gravitas, their entry into becoming one. It is amazing. Can't tell me anywhere in our society where that would stand. And it is clear that either that community, it was one of two things. Either they knew about it and hoped we wouldn't find out about it, which makes me question their intent, or they didn't know about it, which makes me question their judgment. In what segment of our society could somebody say those kinds of things and keep their job, let alone ascend? Alexi McNorman, a kid, said some things on Twitter. She lost her job as the editor for Teen Vogue. Look at John Legend's wife and the things she said that cost her. Look at the jokes that Kevin Hart told that cost him. No one gets to say, I've learned my lesson, I apologize. No one from anywhere gets to do that. And you can't tell me it's the length of time. R. Kelly is not in jail for what he did now. He's in jail for what he did previously. Bill Cosby isn't in jail for what he did now. He's in jail for what he did previously. So if you're going to lead a movement that is about holding people accountable, you need to start with your leadership. This wasn't a child. This wasn't some joke. These were the rantings of somebody who meant it. And now you decide you're only as strong as your organization. You're only as strong as your leadership. And the person who leads your organization now is now akin every bit as vitriolic, every bit as hateful, every bit as stunningly ignorant as Jon Gruden was, she was. You cannot look like, and you gotta tell me, they had to know it was there. You can't look like that much like Miss Cleo from BET and not know the future. You can't look like the Swami from Big and not be able to tell what's coming. It is because they have decided that their movement, however they get there, is okay. It is a means to an end. And they have decided that everybody else should be accountable. They shouldn't be. Name me a segment in society where you could say those things and keep your job, let alone ascend to leadership. Leadership. You are the voice of that movement. You led the protest of that community. You decided to make it an issue. And now you get to say, well, I'm the perfect one because now I've changed. You changed because you got caught and you wanted something. You wanted something. If you're saying that your leader can say and do these things and not be held accountable, you have devoided everything you've attempted to say and do. Because that is not fair treatment. That you don't want to be treated like equally. You want to be treated above everybody. Everything that seems to happen and come from that particular organization seems to verify and edify everything that Dave Chappelle said. No one could say those things and keep their job, let alone become a leader. And if that is the case, if you were led by somebody who has felt that way or said those things out loud, the threats of violence, the vitriol, the hatred, the tropes that you use, and that is your leader, then your movement is invalid. It would be invalid if anybody else do it. You don't get to decide what the rules are just for you. That's not fair. That's special. And since you have all of these letters associated with your movement, the one you need to put, if you don't do something about it, is an extra H for hypocrite. That is a little note from the GED section. We've got a jazz report coming up in 15 minutes. This, of course, is the D.L. Hughley Show.